Welcome, welcome. We are live. This is Open Heart Podcast. We are live. Everybody come on in. It's Wednesday and you already know. If you are watching, please make sure you are sharing. And we hope that you guys were able to catch up on some of the episodes on YouTube during this week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment on the Facebook. And if you're looking for any full episodes, make sure that you are on the YouTube channel. That's where we have all the full episodes. During the week, you're seeing little clips here and there on all of the pages on Instagram and Facebook. But if you want to watch the full episode, make sure that you're going to our YouTube channel, which is Nita Rain. This is your host, Nita Rain, and I am here with my man. You already know, Mr.
What's happening,
Erastus
everybody? What's happening? Welcome to another episode again.
of
It's
Open
good to have y'all
Hearts.
in the
Yes,
building. How are
welcome.
you? Make sure you're sharing this episode today. Make sure you're liking it, share it with everybody, and jumping in the
Yes,
comments today. We'll have a special guest with us
a very
today,
special
and we're gonna be
guest.
talking a lot about our homeland.
Liberia.
LIB in the building.
Yes.
So all my Liberians, just stand up, share this episode with somebody today, and let's have a good one. Make sure you share it once again. All right. So what's happening, baby? How are you doing?
All right, guys. So our special guest, some of you might know our special guest from Liberia shall rise again. This is our special guest today. We have Mr. Stephen, aka Dr. Positive Keller. So his full name is Stephen Keller, aka Dr. Positive. Some of you probably already know him from Liberia Shall Rise Again. He has his own platform. He talks a lot about developing Africa. But before I get into all of that, I just want to welcome him. Welcome to the show. This is, by the way, y'all, this is my family. Okay.
It's family, huh?
This is my brother slash uncle at the same time.
Kind of complicated.
Yeah. This is my godmother's brother. So, this is my big brother. Okay. So I want you guys to, meet him. This is Dr. Positive, and introduce yourself, brother.
Hello, everybody. Again, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited. Uh, we go way back. I don't want to start a story from there. I won't finish the
Yeah.
story, but I'm excited
Tell
to
him, tell him,
tell
tell him.
people about, myself. I'm Stephen Keller, aka Dr. Positive, host of Liberia Shall Rise, a platform on
Yes.
YouTube, Facebook. Please follow us. Please follow us. And thanks to my little sister for inviting me here. She's been doing her thing, and I reached out, and I
Thank
just
you.
let her know what she's been doing. Open heart. I'm here to open my heart up to you. Ask your questions, and my heart will be open to tell it all. So I'm here. This is Dr. Positive from Liberia Shall Rise.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, tell us a little bit about what you do on Liberia Shall Rise Again.
So again, family, thank you for inviting me. To everybody out there, um, my name is Stephen Keller again, aka Dr. Positive. But few years ago, every time I look on YouTube, every time I look on Google, I see negativity about Liberia, especially us just coming from the war. You see people criticizing the government, but nobody providing solutions. So
Mm.
our idea was, hey, um, let's do something different. So that's how Liberia Shall Rise was birthed in around July 16 of 2017. The idea was, why if we can bring a lot of Liberians together that would just talk about positivity? How can we help to develop Liberia, even if we're not in Liberia? How can we bring Liberian expertise from around the world to talk about
Mm.
things to help each other? Imagine this for a minute, right? A world in which all Liberians are willing to help each other. If you know something, you share it with me. If I know something, I share it with you. And together, we can be like the Indian, like the Spanish people, where they own all these gas stations, they own all these laundry mats and things like that. So this was the idea. And then the whole idea is, if like parents in the diaspora and around the world improve their lives, eventually Liberia itself will indeed rise. So, and us bringing all our expertise together, that makes a big difference for our country. So that's how Liberia Shall Rise was founded. And thank God today we started with just me and another colleague of mine, but now I have about 10 folks working with me. I have
Okay.
folks in Liberia on the field in about three counties right now, and then we have some folks in Monrovia. So gradually, we are telling the story of Liberia from one county, from one city in Monrovia at a time. So I want to thank my team. I know they may be watching. I want to thank all of them for what they do. Without them, Liberia Shirage won't be where it is today. So I just want to give a shout out to my team in Liberia and in the U.S.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing is what you're doing. So before we dive into like, all, the other questions that I'm sure everybody wants to hear, how did you, what inspired you to start Liberia Should Rise Again?
Again, like I said, right? Imagine this on the internet. You go, you search on Liberia,
Mm-hmm.
negativity, only the war. Liberia is a war-torn country. Liberia
Yeah.
is a war-torn country, and then you have a lot of Liberians around the country that are doing great, right? But nobody talking about them. A child may be
Mm-hmm.
like number one in their school. Another child may be like a gymnastic champion in her school, but nobody is bringing those kind of stuff up. And then
Yeah.
what about jobs and career? Some of us came to this country, we never knew nothing about America. Why, if you bring people that say, hey, if you want to get in the nursing field, this is the path you can take. Why, if you want to get into trucking, this is the path you can take. But everybody even don't need to go to college. If you think finding a way as a technical person is the best way to go, then go that route. But don't force yourself to college because all your friends are going to college. So
Right.
gradually this thing started picking up, and today we have people coming on with a lot of expertise, Liberians that have achieved so much. Even we had a Liberian that like is like the chief, I think, medical officer for NATO. He came on our
Wow.
platform to talk about his work. You understand? We have Liberians that run big organizations in the U.S. here. They come on the platform and talk about it. So that at least that's something positive that is telling our community, hey, it's not all
Yeah.
negative about Liberia. Liberia has some positive things happening in that country and around the people that are from that country. So these are something that you can look forward to as well.
Okay. You want to go?
Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. So, first of all, congratulations on the work. Well done for basically trying to highlight some of the positivity in
Yes.
in our culture because, like you said, man, there is a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of people that just think once they hear Liberia, they think about some of the worst things that are happening
Mm-hmm.
in the society there. So it's definitely hats off to you and the work that you're doing on on the platform to highlight some of that. But I wanted to ask, I know you spoke a lot about some of the things that is happening here in the US. Are there some current projects and things that's happening in on the land itself right now?
Yeah, so like I said, we have about six journalists working with us on the field in Liberia, right? We have people in different counties. So we have, I think, Lima, there was Lofa, and then currently Bond County, and then Monrovia itself, right? We had another person that we were talking to the staff somewhere, I think, in Lofa. Yeah, so Lofa, and then Bond County, and then Grand Bassa. Also, we're looking at somebody to work with us in Grand Bassa, but I didn't go through. But the whole idea is let's tell people, for example, when I go to Lofa, what is the beauty about Lofa that people need to hear, right? What is beautiful about Lofa instead of just Monrovia? Liberia is not Monrovia, but everything we do, we focus on Monrovia. So the idea is let's promote other counties as well. Let's talk about great things that are happening in other counties. So we have this team that go out, interview people, talk about businesses that are in those communities and what is needed as far as investment is concerned. So, for example, if you see if somebody do a show and you see an opportunity, you can grab it. You don't have to say, "Oh, because this opportunity is not in Monrovia, I'm not going to go and invest." We have to look at the big picture for Liberia to rise, not just focusing on Monrovia. So, targeting all our counties and having impact, little impact, one day at a time in each of those little counties. That's why we changed Liberia. And just to further up this, this Mother Teresa once said that I alone cannot change the world, right? But I can drop a stone in the river and create ripples, right? So our way of
Mm.
creating ripples will be, hey, who is this person? in Liberia. What are they doing? So we bring young children on the platform too and talk about the future of Liberia, right? So that's how we interact with the young people. And then we have other, like if somebody is going to Liberia with a project, right? For example, agriculture, one example, agriculture, we link people in Liberia that are looking for opportunities with that person. And then through that connection, you have something get started, something new get started. So one of the example was these kids got linked with this person for agriculture, and today these kids are not begging anymore, right? They have their own agriculture farm. They're now planting crops and growing crops, and they harvesting and at least trying to do something for themselves. So without even being there, we gradually encouraging people and motivating them. So we got a great fertile soil in Liberia. So instead of waiting for a government job, instead of waiting for somebody to hire you, create your own opportunity. So these kids are trying on their own. Today they have their own initiative going, and gradually we are hoping to actually do some work on ground ourselves, but it's still in the working process.
Awesome,
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That's good. That's
That is
good. And
amazing.
I have a follow up question, and just to get to know you a little bit more before even the project, right? So tell me a little bit about your upbringing in Liberia,
Hmm.
and what is it that you remember, right? And that it's impacting this project so much because maybe you grew up in some part of Liberia, or you grew up in Bumman, wherever you grew up in Liberia, right? Like, take me back to as far as you can, as for and growing up in Liberia. What do you remember, and that is impacting you today in these projects?
Definitely, definitely. So growing up in Liberia, so unfortunately for me, my father passed away at a very young age. I was 5 years old. My father passed away, so it was left with my mother. Right, my mother took care of all of us kids. So for me, every morning, my mother didn't go to school, but she was the one, like our weight on our back, say you got to go to school. She woke us up, she beat us, made sure that we went to school. If you had problem at school, you could cause problem anywhere else, but not at school. Because when you cause problem at school, the police take you down real bad.
Yep.
So I learned that I would have to focus on school. So for me, to impress my mother, I had to do everything I could to be a good person in school. So
Mm.
going to school, seeing people, I always had this thing that said, hey, if I see I was content in what I was, right, growing up, even though we weren't rich, but I never showed myself out there as being poor. I always had this spirit that, hey, this is temporary. This movement that I'm in is temporary. All
Hmm.
school in Liberia, we had to walk to school. But some kids, their fathers brought them to school. So for me, those things kind of hit me and say, hey, if my father was here, right? I was going to be driven to school. But because my father wasn't there, I had to say, all right, my mother is there, she's trying.
Mm.
So I myself had to do everything I can to impress her. So one day at a time, I kept going. And eventually, um, just that effort alone, not comparing yourself with others, but always looking at something to say, hey, if I try harder, I will get to this level. So, for example, one thing I did, I remember, and it still brings me joy, right? My school never we had a basketball court, right, in school, and nobody could play basketball at that time. People were still learning how to play basketball. So, me that in my community we had a basketball court and we were always practicing. So I went and introduced basketball to the school, right? When I introduced basketball to the school, uh, the next sister school, my friends were like, "Hey, guy, we had to do something to play this school." So one of our friends left our school and went to that school. So he invited us to go play them. I had actually 6 guys. My team was a team of 6. All the other guys couldn't play basketball, but I just told him, I said, "Hey, all you need to do is bounce the ball one and pass it. The closest person to the basket makes the basket, right?" This team, yeah. So I was the best player on that team. So when we all played those guys, we were beating the guys so bad that when I got hurt, somebody from the audience gave me water, right? Said, Steven, you can't get down because you are the one running this game. You can't get down. So you have to get strength to go back in the game. And I finally got strength again, drank the water, got strength, went back in the game, and we destroyed this team so bad. Right? I said that to say, like, in difficult situation, you have to try no matter what. You can't say, oh, because I don't have it all, I'm not going to try. So without a team, we were able to beat the other school because we help each other. Everybody contributed, right? Everybody contributed towards the winning of that game. It wasn't me saying, "Oh, because I'm the super player, I'm gonna make all the basket." I just told them the closest person make the basket.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at Liberia today, our situation as a country, right? We all have to contribute one way or the other, you know. So um, nobody has to say I know it all. In America
Yeah,
or in Nigeria, everybody has to be willing to help each other in order for our country to get to the next level. And through that effort, I was able to get a. I became a valedictorian for my ninth grade class. Went to high school again. The person who promised me scholarship didn't pay my school fees, so I started throwing water for somebody to go pay my school fee, right?
for sure.
And I didn't still give up. I still had hope that someday I was going to be somebody. I was going to get somewhere. So, um, yeah, yeah, I am today. You know, I tell this story to tell people like, no matter what your situation is, you should keep trying, and someday, somehow, you will get to a place you need to be. But you cannot give up because of your current situation.
That's right. That's
Awesome.
right.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Go for
Okay.
the next
So,
question.
Okay. Good. Good. So with the with the new government, right? We have a new government in Liberia right now, and forgive me because I'm totally not like up to date with the politics and all those things that are happening in Liberia today, but
mhm.
I do know some of the challenges that I hear about the formal government and the current government, all the different situations that's happening there. So, what are some challenges now that you're facing with the current government, or even in the past that were pushing back, or maybe even supporting you in the Liberia Shah rise?
All right. So, for example, right, I have this proposal. I can give it to you right now as we speak. It's called considering not universal vocational education, right? Universal vocational training, well, UVT, something like that, which is supposed to say every child, right, that graduates from high school in Liberia, every child, once you hit high school, you come up with a certificate either as a plumber, a carpenter, or some kind of trade, right? The
Mm-hmm.
previous government, I reached out to them, tried to send that document to everybody that said they knew somebody, right? I even forwarded it to the Ministry of Education up to today that they have left office. I never got a thank you. We receive your proposal, we'll review it and get back to you, right? So the whole thing about Liberia, and I'm hoping that this new government, I can find somebody to share that kind of stuff with. The idea is sometimes we may not know it all, but we have to be willing to accept stuff from people that are willing to help us. So my thing for Liberia, in order for Liberia to develop, would be for our government to be able to partner with people. So this new government has just taken office, so I can't say anything like that about them. But my hope to them is that you find a way to collaborate with all the Liberian expertise you have around the world. And with that collaboration, we will see a Liberia that we all have that we all dream to see. And I did a show one time. I said, "Can Liberia be better than Miami or Dubai?" Right? How can we start thinking that way if our leaders are not thinking that way? So these are the challenges we have to challenge ourselves as a country, as a people, and say, hey, what can we do to better ourselves? And that comes
Mm-hmm.
with collaboration. You know, that comes with us sharing ideas. That comes with us working together. With me being on your platform today, you know, I have much. I don't. I mean, my platform is not as big as every other platform, but I think just coming on here and sharing my experience is a blessing to you. It's helping your platform, and I think that's how
Right.
all of Liberians have to look at life and look at our future as a country and work together so that we can better our country and ourselves.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, what do you think? What do you think is the most important issues facing Liberia today?
A system, right? System.
Assistance?
System, right?
Still
Liberia.
system. Okay.
Yeah. So our platform really we don't usually focus on politics, but we
Mm-hmm.
give constructive criticism, right? And we suggest ideas, right? So,
Yeah.
for example, Liberia needs systems in place that we can say, all right, a passport, for example. I had somebody recently who wanted a passport from the US. They went to the website, filled up their application, submitted their
Mm-hmm.
money. That person didn't get their passport. They had to send another money to Liberia, right? And pay for transportation, pay for everything else for that person to get their passport done. So today, the person got the passport sent from Liberia, right? So my
Yeah.
my thing now is what happened to that first 150 or
Mm-hmm.
$200 to pay in the US here? Where did it go? You understand? So
Yeah.
I believe strongly, without any doubt, that if Liberia should rise, our system has to be either close to what the US has created or even 1 or 2% of what the US has, right? For example, when you want driver license, when your driver license expires, right? You go to motor vehicle, you stay in line, you may have to spend 2 hours and stuff there, but by the time you leave that place, you come up with a driver license. Look at your vehicle registration. You in Philadelphia, I'm in Texas. Texas, they charge us $75 for registration, $25 for to get it inspected, right? Texas alone, if you take $100 and say 17 million people pay $100 every year, or even 10 million people pay $100 every year to renew their vehicle registration. That's a lot of money. And Liberia is losing all those money because we don't have the correct system in place to make sure that when people pay for something, they get it. So
Mm-hmm.
all that extra money that you pay, it doesn't go to the government, it go to somebody else. And sadly, the government is losing a lot of money because of that. So I believe if we put a system in place that say
Yep.
every time somebody wants something, they
Mm-hmm.
get it, right? That would encourage people to go more to apply for passport. That would encourage people more to go and apply
Yes.
for driver license and all those stuff. But without a system, we can have the best president. The corruption will happen, and the corruption is not only coming from the top; it's coming from the bottom, from that little person at the
Mm-hmm.
Ministry of Health, from that little person at
Yeah.
the ministry. You understand? So
Yeah.
it's more than just the president alone. So we need everybody to do their part. I
Yeah.
think like we should include something called Integrated 101 in all the education that they do in school in Liberia to teach people the value of being sincere, to teach
Mm-hmm.
people the value of being trustworthy. Because without that, I can tell you 20 years from now, you'll go to Liberia and you'll still have the same problems.
Okay. I too think that the system is my biggest issues, and I know I've been here for a long time, and I don't know much about what goes on, but I do know that, and I know that a lot of people, and I hear a lot of things as far as the system goes, and the system is damn near rigged in my opinion, and I feel like you said, trust is not there. It's a lot of stealing, it's a lot of dishonesty, going on back home. So I do think that if, things are put in place and the system is just in order, I think that things are going to work out because like as first, especially us as here and sending money back home to our families or trying to work on things back home. It's a lot of trust issues, and like you said, it's not just the bottom; it's mostly the head, and it's that's where it starts from. So it's just not promising, and there's no trust, and I think that's my biggest issue. So I think if a system is in place, I think that would make it easier for everybody to feel comfortable, and like you said, everybody got to work together, everybody has to do their part for it to come together.
Yep, and
So
and
I
and
totally
Yeah.
agree with
One of
that.
the issues I know, I mean, that I see in Liberia, I don't think it is. It's not so much governmental, right? I think it's more of just the society as a whole, period. You
yeah,
understand? Like it's deeper than the people who are in office because it's the society, the people who are in the communities, our family members, the people who we are thinking like, okay, these are the people we trust So we do this for them and we send this there, and the same people that you think you trust are the same people that will come behind your back and steal from you and eat your money. So it's not
Yeah.
so much that the government is the issue. The people, Liberian people, are literally the issue that I see, that I have observed or even been victim of, right? So if the same people are the ones that are circulating and going in offices that have power now, if somebody is corrupt from the bottom, they're just a regular person pushing the wheelbarrow at one point, and now all of a sudden now you give them power, right? There's like those people are going to misuse that power, and that same power is going to have some corruption. And I believe this is what's happening in the country today. And so for us to have an organization like yours to say, okay, we're going to do something to try to better this and better the land and see if we can work together. I don't like, how are we addressing those issues that are like, how you plan on addressing those issues that are deeper than like the government stuff, right? Like, how are we helping the little people, the people who are just in the communities that don't have, and now if you give them a little bit of power now, like, so how are we helping people that are just at the very bottom?
Yeah, so again, sadly, you and myself can talk all day, right? But we cannot really change everything. But again, we cannot just sit down and say, hey, we're not going to do anything about it, right? So the way I have decided to do something about it, I will take another quote from way back into time, right? Plato, right? Plato say, the heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by people that are inferior than you, right? So, for example, all of us here, I know we've been in America, we've been, some of us in Liberia, we are doing fine financially. So we say, oh, I don't want to step into government. I would say to those people, hey, you are the one that causing Liberia problem, right?
Mm.
First, we have to start from the classroom. How do we fix this problem on the bigger picture, right? We have to start from the classroom, teaching integrity, teaching trust, teaching a child to say, hey, when you steal, it's not good for the country, right? Because the stealing start, like you said, from our family. We have people that buy land, they send money to family members to build houses, right?
Yeah.
And those family members turn around and build their own houses and send fake pictures to America or wherever these people are and say, oh, I'm building this house for you. When you come, oh, the naked grass you walk on set will not be small, right? And these people go show up. They don't have a land. They don't have a property. They don't have nothing. So the whole interpreted things come from, it has to start from the family, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
when a father send his child to school or the mother send a child to school and that child don't study and that child come with an A, the mother should be asking a question, how did you pass? Did you spy or something? I never saw you studying, right?
Yeah.
And then that parent then go back to the school and find out how their child really got it. That's a wild analogy. But imagine this. If every school said we're no longer going to take bribe, every principal said we're no longer going to accept bribery in our school, right? So that will start helping the situation because imagine this for our girls. For our girls,
Mm.
if they don't have money, what they have to give is their body. You understand? And that is impacting our society. So we have to
Yep.
say no to that from elementary level. And these teachers, and it
Yeah.
starts from 15, 14, 13 years old. These students start being molested by people because
Hmm.
they can't pass their exam. Now the teacher say, oh, you got to sleep with me for this, and that's where all these start from. So imagine that child now that said, all right, my teacher told me it was okay to accept bribe. So when I
Hmm.
become a minister, if somebody wants something from me at my office, I'll either have to sleep with them or they
Mm.
have to give money. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's what is impacting our society. So it doesn't just start from the position. It starts from the family because all these things are being supported by our family members. When you have a girl child and this girl child is in school and she's not studying and you see she's promoted to the next level, right?
Yeah.
How did she get promoted? What did she do
Hmm.
to get promoted? So we, as parents, as family members, we start asking these questions. Eventually, somebody will listen, and then as a government,
Mm-hmm.
we can't put everything on the government, but when the government put policies in place and the government start doing everything to implement that policy, to say, hey, when a teacher is caught taking bribe, when a student is caught taking bribe, when a teacher is caught molesting a student, this teacher lesson will be withheld for 10, 15 years.
Yes.
That teacher go
Mm-hmm.
back into that will change the system in overnight. You understand? Even in this great
Yeah.
United States, it
They
happens
shouldn't
here,
even be
right?
allowed to actually. Mm-hmm.
It happens here, but you find that those teachers get arrested, they get put in
Yeah.
jail over time. When teachers uh, uh, sleep with young children, they get arrested. But Liberia, when was
Yep.
the last time you heard a teacher being arrested for molesting a
Mm.
child? When was the last time you heard a student being uh, expelled out of school for paying bribe? We don't see these things. You understand? So
Mm.
somebody in the government or somebody in society, one principal or one teacher have to stand up and say, "Hey, I'm not gonna take bribe. If you want to bribe me, I'm gonna write you off. If you
Right.
ask me for bribe again the next time, I'm gonna expel you from my class." So it could start from one teacher, it could start from one student, it could start from one government official, but we at least need one person to start taking action in Liberia, and eventually we'll see some of these things start changing.
Yeah, I think they all need to get jail. All of them. The whole country need to go to jail.
And honestly, I don't even feel like,
All of them.
the men and even women that, commit such crimes shouldn't even be allowed any children ever again in their life. I don't care if it's 15 years you've been put away, you should not be allowed around any children. I just think that's another big issue that we face in Liberia, the molestation, the rape, and you're seeing like little girls, early teens, having babies. And most times it's not from them just having consensual sexual intercourse, it's because they are, you know, being sexualized so early. So, and raped, So I think that's another issue. People need to really stand up. The law has to do better. The government really has to do better because, it's a lot of that going on, and that's not okay. That is not
And
okay.
just having the laws on the book and not doing anything about it.
Yes.
That's why, again, I will say something about our platform. We look at the big picture, right? Consider Liberia as a big puzzle, right?
Hmm.
In order for Liberia to rise, all these little puzzles have to be fixed.
Yes.
It's not
Has to
just
come
Liberia being
together.
beautiful, right? It's
Hmm.
not Liberia just being beautiful. Is hey, is our children going to school and learning properly,
Yes.
right? Are
Hmm.
they being treated like children? Are their innocence being protected? Right? So these
Yes.
are the questions that we ask. These are the questions that we
Hmm.
we kind of probe. We talk about these kind of stuff. But again,
Hmm.
going back to Plato's statement, right? That's why I personally am fighting. I'm not saying I'm going to be the hero for Liberia, right? But I
Right.
personally am to try to see if I can go back home, start a
Hmm.
business, start hiring people, and really follow just a simple system in America. If you work hard, you
Yes.
get promoted. You work hard, you get
Hmm.
benefit, you get incentive for working hard, right? And see if
Yes. Hmm.
change a two-person life, right? Because until we ourselves get involved, right? Until we ourselves get involved to provide some sort of service that we train people on how they're supposed to behave,
Hmm.
things will be the same. You understand? But without that, we have to use our platform to keep talking about these things, to keep talking
Yeah.
about these, and gradually, one or two person, like I said, if one person started, that's a change. You understand? That's a
Yeah.
change
Hmm.
in itself.
How do you think the government can create more jobs back home? Because I just feel like, you know, back home, we have a lot of talented people and very smart people back home. And I think a lot of the crimes that's committed in Liberia, sadly, mostly is from people really, they're struggling. They don't have jobs. They need to eat. They need to have roof over their head. They need to support their family. And it's not right. But I think if people were provided some type of like, you know, some type of system was created to where a lot of jobs was provided to people to actually have jobs, to get up in the morning, to have something to look forward to provide for their families, and go to work every day at 9 to 5 or whatever hours, can just have something to build. I think that will limit some of the crime. As far as like, stealing and all that is always gonna, be there. But I just feel like on the daily, a lot of times people people have to market to sell here and there, but I think real jobs, going to warehouse, either even if it's construction, working on the roads, fixing the roads. I feel like the government needs to work on something to where jobs are provided for people. So how do you think the government can do that?
Well, so just look at America, right? When you look at all the best jobs in America, for example, it's not owned by the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us leave the government job and work for the private sector, right? And
Yeah.
the way the private sector thrived was the government said, hey, if you have an idea to start a business, as a government, we will enable you to start that business. So what are
Mm-hmm.
the investments that the government do? For example, Amazon is coming to Texas. The governor of Texas will say, hey, maybe we'll give you a land for free, or if we can't give you the land, when you buy your land, we will give you tax write-off, right? So if you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
pay tax for the first 10 years, we'll say, all right, Amazon, you're not going to pay us any taxes for the first 10 years so that you can hire our community members or people in our constituent. And then once those people start paying taxes, that will be the taxes that we will use to benefit
Right.
from you in our country, in our community, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the government of Liberia or the different constituencies in Liberia have to start looking at that model, right? Look at
Mm-hmm.
Dr. For example, you say, hey, Dr. President, do you have an idea, right? Let's start like a Shark Tank, right? That say, hey, everybody that have a business idea, bring your proposal to us, and we'll try to help you with funding, right? If we can get you funding, we'll use the external resources that are coming to Liberia to say, hey,
Right.
uh, um, if somebody want to do business in Liberia, we have $1 million or we have 500,000 or 10,000 to give that person, but we need to see the person's idea and see if it's viable, right? So now, when you have that kind of stuff going on, then Dr. Positive, your husband, Mr. Erectus, I mean, not kill the name, right? Yeah, but
It's okay.
yeah, he will come and say, hey, I have this idea. I want to start this business, right? And then that will change the economy. And then the thing I told you about earlier, where when every child that go to school, they learn some kind of trade, a child can graduate from high school with a certificate as a carpenter, that child will automatically have the ability to start their own business. If somebody
Mm.
graduates from high school with a web development certificate, that person come up, they can develop a website. You understand? And that person now can start contracting, they can go on Favor, they can go on all these Upwork and put their resume and say, hey, I'm in Liberia, but I'm willing to develop your website for $25 or $100, right? And
Yeah.
that person in Liberia, that person in Liberia with a website development skill, if that person do 10 jobs on Upwork and charge $100, that's $1,000 a month, right? Where in Liberia is any child that is a high school graduate without uh, knowing somebody in the government or without having a family member that have a company make $1,000 a month? But if we don't
Mm.
provide a trade, if we don't provide a
Hmm.
training that these children need, and just say, oh,
Right.
the government will provide all the jobs, it will be impossible. And then on the government itself, what I would say to the government, after enabling people, right? After enabling people now to make the government create jobs, I would say all the companies that are coming to Liberia to start businesses, say
Hmm.
maybe 80% of the people you are hiring have to be Liberians, 20% have to be managers, right? Or 10% have to be managers. In that way, when a Chinese company is coming, a Chinese company is not bringing the sweeper, the cleaner, they're not bringing everybody. They're only bringing the people that are managing that business, right? And those
Right.
managers train people to become what they need to be, right? But most of these companies, when it comes to Liberia, they bring everybody, right? From
Hmm.
the senator to the manager. And then you have that situation where the Liberians themselves are not getting opportunity. And then even when they
Yeah.
give Liberians opportunity, the wage is so small. And no,
Yeah.
the guys don't even have right to say anything. When you say something, they fire you. And because they fire you, you can work for their friend. You can work for their friend. Every other company in that area, you can work for them. It's happening in the mining industry right now. You understand?
Mm.
So government, that's where the government has to set up to be that police for our people so that when these companies come, right, they can help the Liberians to to keep a job, to have a job that will make them to make a living.
Right.
Wow, that was well said. That was definitely well said. So
Thank you.
as the platform grows, right? Liberia shall rise again. What is a future goal for you and the team and everything that you got going on? What is a future goal? Maybe we'll say maybe a decade from now. How do you see your organization or your platform impacting what you just said in Liberia?
Yeah, so for example, I personally, I have multiple proposals besides the one for education, right? That I can give to the government for free right now. If somebody listening, I work in the government education ministry, reach out to me and say, Dr.
Mm.
Positive, you promise this proposal that you have that will help our children to start uh, making a living on their own. Where is it? I will send it to them with no question asked. I don't even want credit. The fact is, I just want it to be implemented so that every child
Mhm.
that graduates from high school, right, can have a certificate and say, oh, because of Liberia Shall Rise, today I have a certificate that I can feed myself, right? But without the government helping or without anybody else stepping up, our platform personally, on my team, we have people that are doing things in Liberia. One of my colleagues actually built a clinic in Bon County, right? Partner with somebody build a clinic, but again, it seems corruption stuff. That clinic today is not open because people on the way when election time is coming, they go and push
Mm.
themselves and say, I'm ready to open the clinic. I will open this clinic for you. They get people to vote for them and then they disappear.
Mm.
And so the thing that is
Wow.
keeping the clinic from opening is politics. But me personally, my plan is at least I'm praying very, very hard that God give me some financial magic, right? That when I apply for funding based on some of the ideas that I have, that I get funded, right? I had a meeting yesterday with somebody on the same thing. I'm looking for funding. So the project I have in mind when I go to start it in Liberia, right? I will be able to hire people. And this project is something that is intended to not just be in Monrovia, right? It's intended to go in all the counties in Liberia,
Mhm.
right? And we're looking to really get started within a year or two. But if we get the funding today, like I was telling the person I was speaking to yesterday, I said if we get the funding today, based on everything that I know, I'm willing to pack my clothes tomorrow and get on a plane to go to China to buy some of the equipment I need, go wherever else I can to get the equipment and go to Liberia and start that project. And I feel like this will be my PhD, right? Because if I can work on that project in Liberia and that project succeeds, right, that would be a dream come true. That's how
Yeah.
I contribute to this thing called Liberia Rising because we can talk, we can talk, we can talk. You can share your ideas and you can share your ideas, you can share your ideas. Nobody will implement your idea for you. And if you go back to the quote that I stated earlier from Plato, they say, I actually rephrase it for myself that if you don't participate in something, people that have no interest in you will be the one to lead that thing, right? So Liberia, I'm interested in Liberia, but if I don't step up one day and say I'm moving to Liberia, people that
Right.
don't have no interest in what I'm interested in will be the one that will run Liberia to the ground, right? And
Right.
I'm not saying I will be the best, but if I contribute, at least I will have said,
Yeah.
hey, I've done my part. And if you contribute, you will say, hey, you have done your part. But again, what we are asking from the government is make it easy that when any of us from around the world come to Liberia want to start a business, it shouldn't take us 3, 4 months or 6 months to get our business started, right? When I went
Mhm.
to Liberia in 2022, my plan was to start a simple business, which was for mobile money, right?
Okay.
And they told me I needed a passport. I needed my Liberian passport updated. It took me almost the same length of time I was in Liberia to get my passport, right? So basically, I only had 3 more days left in Liberia, and the passport was the key for me to be able to start the business application, the business license application, right? I spent a month in Liberia running behind my passport because I refused to pay bribe. Every time I show up at that place, they say, "Oh, your document is this place. And I pay for expedition though. I pay for expedition. I paid the $80 fee for expedition. My passport never got given to me until I was leaving on Sunday. I received my passport on Friday evening at about 8 o'clock because I sat there and said I wasn't leaving until I got my passport.
Right.
At that particular last day, and I told them I was leaving. You understand? So if the government can make this process easier for us, some of us with blessings and
Yep.
opportunities from around the world, maybe somebody will read our idea and say, oh, wow, this idea is very important, it's very interesting. I will fund your idea, I will support your idea. Then we can go and get started. So my appeal to the government, everybody who have power in Liberia is, hey, some of us want to come and help. Some of us have ideas. Even if we don't have the money to start, we can share our ideas with you, and you can help the country to become better. So I think if our leaders start looking at us in the diaspora like that, eventually our country will become better. Because if I say I will wait till I have that money until I get started, maybe I may not get there, but somebody in Liberia already may have that money. You understand? They can say, all right,
Yeah.
Stephen, come partner with us. We'll do maybe 60-20 profit sharing, and you run the business and you take 60%, we take 20%, like the way they do it on Shark 10, right? In that way, I can go to Liberia and fulfill that goal and still help to hire other people, create opportunities for people. You understand? But it would take all of us, even those with money, those without money, we all need to still keep coming up with our ideas and trying to sell it to somebody.
Yeah. So I will one question I want to ask is and I'm going to ask this question because I knew someone that wanted a job in Africa, but they required so much, and not only requiring so much, but they also were rejected because they were a U.S. citizen, even though they are Liberian, as you know, that was born and raised in Liberia. So a lot of us here, we went to school here, we have a lot of knowledge, we have degrees, and even if it's not just the money, if we ever want to say, hey, listen, you know what? I want to go back home and I want to apply what I know and help my country. What is the requirement for, you know, us having to say, okay, I want to pack my bag just like you want to do and go back home and say, I want to stay here for a few years until maybe whatever it is that I'm trying to, contribute is running smoothly, and then I can, go back and forth, however the case may be. But what is the requirement for us to, go and say, I want to work either in the government, either in whatever department it is that you can work in? What is the requirement for that?
All
Being an
right. So
American citizen.
thankfully, Liberia, quote unquote, now on paper we have dual citizenship, right? So
Mm-hmm.
no a Liberian should leave from around the world and go to Liberia. And somebody say, hey, you cannot work here because you're not a Liberian citizen, right? You're
Yeah.
supposed to take Liberian passport and maybe your German passport, your U.S. passport, or even your Ghanaian passport, as long as you are a Liberian by birth, right? Uh, Generations of Liberians behind you, you should be able to
Mm-hmm.
go to Liberia and work any day. Now, as far as requirements is concerned, if you are qualified as a nurse, I think Liberia may have their own process that says when you come to Liberia, maybe you have to do something to practice in Liberia. If not, as a nurse from America, you should be able to go and work in Liberia. But that process is not visible to any of us. So the president was in Dallas recently, and what he said was they're going to create a Liberia diaspora group or partnership where they start partnering with people in the diaspora. So I'm hoping and praying that through that initiative, the president will put something in place that say, hey, if you are a Liberian and you want to work in Liberia, this is a website you can go to and apply
Right.
for a job, and we'll consider you as everybody else, right?
Right.
If you just want to say, all right, I'm coming on vacation, right? I think it would be a beautiful idea, even if without going retiring and going back, it would be a beautiful idea just to support what
Mm-hmm.
you are saying. Say you are taking your vacation next month and you're going to Liberia. You want to be in Liberia for 1 month, right? Other than partying, other than eating all the juicy food and on the street and eating all the good food and at these restaurants, you say, all right, when I wake up in the morning, at least for 4 hours, I want to go to JFK and volunteer. I think it would be a great and brilliant idea for the government to say, hey, if you are in the diaspora and you have this skill, you want to come to Liberia and volunteer, this is how you do it, right? And then we go and fill out that form. It could be a simple Google form, right? Fill out that form and say, my name is Steven. I'm an IT specialist. I will coming to Liberia May 1 to May 20th, and I will be able to help the Ministry of Justice or the
Yeah.
Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Labor with their data, right? I can help the Ministry of Data, Ministry of Education to know how many people are unemployed, how many children graduated from school, and they don't have jobs and all those kind of stuff. So as an IT specialist now, put that in that website that the government create. When I show up in Liberia, somebody who number should already be given to me that I can call that person and say, hey, I'm in Liberia now. I'm ready to help my country for free
Yeah.
for that 1 month, right? And then if you do so much of a good job, then they can say, oh, Steven was here, he did this. Maybe since we have an opening, we can now
Hmm.
hire him to come and work on this full time. You understand? So it all requires collaboration. It all requires the government thinking bigger than all the people in America coming take our job. No, if people want to contribute, give them a space to contribute. And I think if the government even implement one of the many, two things I said here, that would be a game changer for all Liberians and even those at home.
Okay. Yes. So, before we, ask the last question, I just want to know, like, for us that's here in the U.S., what can we do uh, um, to support you? Um, if we, like you said, however you're reaching out back home, whatever it is that we can do from here. A lot of us have not been back home. Even for me, just speaking for me personally, I have not been back home since I've been here. But I have family back home. I still want to go home. Um, I want to help as much as I can. I want to help develop my country, and if I wanted to help out and in any way, how can I help? How can I reach out to you, and what can I do?
All right. So for folks that don't know me, you can find me three different ways on Facebook. You can search at Liberia Shall Rise, so
Hmm.
LIB Shall Rise. That's the first way. If you go Facebook, YouTube, and search, you'll find me that way. And the next way
Okay.
is uh, underscore Dr. Positive. So
Okay.
underscore uh, Dr. Positive. I think no, sorry, I think on link on Instagram is underscore Dr.
Instagram.
Positive. Yeah, on
Okay.
Facebook is Doctor underscore positive. For some odd reason, Facebook wouldn't allow me to do it on the same two platforms the same way, so I had to put
Okay.
it different. But again, and then my phone number too is 732-707. Oh, actually, let me give this other number. It's 682
Hmm.
503 9906. Again, the number is 682-503-9906. So anybody who want to partner with us, and if you have something to share that would help Liberians, you can reach
Right.
out to, and I also want to give you a hats up for what you are doing. You can also use your
Thank you.
platform, right, and keep giving good messages. And sometimes if you have some experience that somebody needs, just do a one
Yeah.
minute or presentation on that idea you want to share. That's how we all can contribute. You understand? And the way I
Hmm.
see life is, I alone cannot do it all, right? So you have an
Yeah.
expertise, right? I have an expertise. Like if you go to a company, for example, you'll see that there's a janitor.
Yep.
That janitor is as important as the CEO. That's how I
Yep.
see life. If that janitor for 1 week don't clean the toilet, imagine what you will see at work. You understand? So
Yeah.
we have to value each other in our own little corner. You understand? So if
Yeah.
I'm a janitor, I bring something to the table, accept it, and that's how I see life. And I hope that all of us that are doing this talk show and doing things to help Liberia in our own little corner, we can see it like that. Because you may have some idea that I don't have, but together, together we can do great things. And the Indians, the Spanish people are doing it already. You understand? Imagine
Yes.
if friends come together and say we're going to own our own gas station, we're going to own our own laundry mat, we're going to do all these things together. Partnership.
Yeah.
And if we do that in the US or in Europe, eventually will have more money to go and use cash violence in Liberia to make that change happen. You understand? So my prayer
Mhm.
is that every Liberians around the world in the diaspora become so wealthy that we all can just go to our country and use so much cash violence to help to develop our country. Because when Amazon or Walmart is coming to a community, right?
Yeah.
The government have to build the road that lead to that place that Amazon or Walmart is coming. If they don't
Yep.
build that road, Amazon will not show up. You understand? So I think if
Yep.
we have businesses that have that kind of power, if I'm hiring
Yes.
10,000, if I'm hiring 20,000 people and I tell the government, hey, I need this road to be paved tomorrow, right? It may not be hypothetically, right? Somebody will
Yep.
take that action and start paving that road. So we need more Liberians that have money to step up and help in this country. And then if they are not ready to go, like I said, I have a proposal. More than 10, 15 Liberians or hundreds of Liberians have ideas. Let's do a Shark Tank in the US and say,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to go to Liberia and start a business, we are willing to fund you, but we want to see what you have. Bring it to this pitching competition. If you win, we'll fund you so and so amount. And together we all, I mean, people can start going. And these people that
Yep.
invest in those opportunities eventually can be the Mark Cuban of Liberia. You understand? So
Yeah.
these are that we have to start doing now. You know, we can even partner up and say, all right, why if 100 Liberians or thousands of Liberians, 1,000 Liberians, they put $100 together? That's $100,000. If all of us do that, right? And we can go
Mhm.
and invest something in Liberia. So that's how we have to start thinking uh, to change Liberia faster, or else 10, 15, 20 years from now, we'll be in the same old thing. Every government that change, they come with promises, and then we'll go in the same circle and circle and circle.
All right.
Wow.
Well, you need to say?
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to ask the question: how did you get the name Doctor Positive? I want to know a little bit about a history with that. You know, I did dig in your business a little bit and figure out some story about the name, but I want you to share it here with us because I see
Yeah.
you're not wearing your septoscope today. So I want to know what's going on with that and how did the name come about. He said, "Oh, let me grab it. Let me show you that I'm a doctor."
There you
So
go.
imagine
There you
this.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So, because
imagine
yeah, I was watching the interview and I think you shared a little bit about the name and where it came from. So,
yeah.
tell the viewers and tell the audience, how did you get
Let me
that
start
name,
exactly
Doctor
from this so
Positive?
that can complete. Yeah. So okay, imagine this, right? If you take Liberia as a patient, let's imagine Liberia come to the hospital as a patient, and you check Liberia as a patient, and you want to find out what are the problems Liberia have, right? You will find out that like if you just scan for corruption, right? Liberia is positive for corruption, right? If you scan Liberia for greed, Liberia is positive for greed. If you scan Liberia for underdevelopment, right? Poverty, Liberia is positive for all those things. So I said, hold on, this is a something that I had to. I wanted to find a name that would be catchy, but also had a meaning, right? So when I did that analogy, I said, all right. Every time people tell me that's a positive, they will be reminding me of my work to help to solve this
Yeah.
problem. Because normally, as a doctor, right, if you diagnose a patient and say this patient is HIV positive or this patient have COVID, you have to find some medication, right? You have to find some medication for that person, for that patient. So this medication is us coming on and giving all these great ideas to help improve Liberia. So gradually, if Liberians start taking that pill, right, of improving themselves, changing our system, improving our system, making things better, eventually, right, Liberia will start being negative for some of these things. But until that time, I will remain Dr. Positive forever because Liberia had to fix herself in order for me to
Yes.
change things. But if Liberia don't fix herself, then eventually, sadly, I'm going to be positive for all Liberia problems. So that's how that name came. And
I
Wow.
like that.
I like that.
it happens
I
two
like
ways.
that.
Yeah, when people call the name, it brings smile to them too, right? And it also brings smile to me. But then deep down in my mind, my smile is deeper than their smile because I know what this name means. It's heavy. It's a heavy load on my shoulder. So
Yeah.
imagine this. My daughter, who is about 15, like 2 days ago, when she was about 8 or 9, she asked me, she said, Daddy, what if Liberia don't rise?
Mm.
What if Liberia don't rise? What are you going to do? You understand?
It
And I
will.
said, for the rest of my life, I'm going to keep suggesting. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep doing things to make sure that this country of ours become better. And I pray that God give me strength. God give me the right connection so that through me and all the people that I'm connecting with, so that through us, all of us, we can help one day to see our country as beautiful or more beautiful than Dubai or even more beautiful than the great United States. You understand? We have the resources, we have the talent, we have skills, we have intellect, right? People that are professors in different schools, people that are inventors, right? All over the world. Why can our country develop? So that's the thing I want to challenge all of us that are watching today and say, what would be my role in making this Liberia uh, better than I met it. You understand? And that's why I
Yeah.
get up every Saturday. That's why I get up. And when my sister asked me for this show, I said, oh, let me go and tell the story because it's important that people know. Imagine this, even just the name, Liberia shall rise, right? When people
Yes.
hear that, people should be running to sign up on our page. But sadly,
Mm-hmm.
our Liberians don't like those, they don't follow those kind of stuff. So you
Of
will have
course.
few people that will believe in stuff like this. And because of
Mm-hmm.
those few people, they will be the change maker. So we don't need the whole country to agree with us that Liberia should rise, right? But we need few people with dedication, passion, and love for country that will make this country a better place. And um, I think that's what we need, because if we wait for everybody to get on board before we start, our country will never get anywhere. You understand? So it takes
Yes.
you, it takes me for us to keep being that voice. And something the Bible says, like we are strong believers, they say, without a vision, a nation perish, right?
Yeah.
So what is our vision as a people when we talk about development? What is our vision as leaders? What do you want to do for your community? What legacy will you leave for your community? So that's why I used to wear this, and I always used to wear to remind myself. I still have my vest somewhere in there. So one day I might revive it, but I'm trying to do some different things. So hopefully I may wake up the doctor again.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And so I wanted to ask one last question here. And I usually ask this to all of our viewers because we want to be able to go back to the show and say, okay, we had Dr. Positive on the show maybe about 5 years ago, right? And then so thinking 5 years from now, future, how do you see the organization Liberia shall rise? So if you were to sit right here and look ahead right now, what is the future long term, maybe we'll say just 5 years goal for Liberia shall rise that we can come back here 5 years and say, wow, he said he was going to do it and he did it.
Yeah, so my 5 year plan, I would say first of all is to keep doing more, right? And to see that people get the idea, right? One problem is in Liberia, people don't have data, right? So we do our show for an hour, right? So I'm planning now to do like 15 minutes, 10 minutes skit. So that's the first short-term goal, right? To say all these great ideas we have, all the people that have come on our platform, I'm going to cut their shows all their messages into little bits and pieces. And weekly, I'm going to start sharing that with our audience, right? So that's our short-term goal. And then for long-term goal, you want to see Dr. Positive in Liberia working, working to make this dream a reality. You understand? Because I feel like, um, and I will leave this with the audience, right? Um, it's from Leonardo da Vinci. He said, I'm impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just me talking all the time is not enough anymore. I must do something. And what is that something I have to do is to be part of those who are making a change in Liberia. Uh, I'm hoping to be. a business person in Liberia that will help to impact change. But you never know. You never know. Sometimes doing one thing, you get pulled into something else. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's 5 or 10 years, you might see a politician that's a positive because I have talked and talked and talked,
Jack
and
of all
no,
trades.
yeah, no action is being taken. So my 5 year plan is to really work hard to be in Liberia. So I'm hoping that 5 years from now, today is May, I think May 22nd, or yeah, May 22nd, you
Mhm.
guys can bring him back 5 years from now, 2027 or something like that, uh, and say that the positive you promised us you are going to be in Liberia. Are you in Liberia now? And I pray my answer should be yes, that I'm in Liberia and I'm helping to make this change happen. And I hope I can encourage you guys
Yes,
to kind of come and see some of the work that we are doing. And maybe we can even do that interview in Liberia instead of doing it from
for
America.
sure.
Awesome.
That would be
Yeah.
so great. I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And yes, Liberia is going to rise again. And we pray that in 5 years that your dream, and even before that, that your dream and everything that you have put together will come to pass, and everything that you've been working on, all your proposal, we pray that some way somehow is going to get into the government hand, and they're going to apply that to our system back home. We thank you for all the hard work that you do, and keep on doing it. You never know who's watching, you never know who's seeing your work. And like you said, everybody needs to do their part. Everybody got to work together. So I would definitely just keeping myself updated with the information that you are sharing, and see how I can apply what I know to the work we're doing back home, and see how I can help for sure. But thank you so much for coming on. Just once again, before you go, tell people where they can find you again. On social media. So if they want to follow you, if they want to contribute, if they want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you once again?
Yeah, so again, my name is Stephen Keller, aka Dr. Positive. You can find me on Facebook at Stephen E. Keller, or at Liberia, LIB shall rise. So LIB shall rise on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Again, let's partner up and help to make our country a better
Please,
place.
yes.
This is all we can do. We can all contribute a little bit. Like Mother Teresa said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can drop a stone in the river and create
Mm-hmm.
ripples. So I'm asking
Yes,
you, your own little corner, what ripples are you gonna create? So whether it's following
yes.
me, if you decide to do something, just try, one day at a time, and together we all can help Mama Liberia to become a great nation someday that people will be running to go and visit.
Yes. And it's not all about money too, guys. Like, just by sharing his work,
Yeah,
just by watching, just sharing the video, even if you cannot,
Support financially.
support financially, you can support it. Just share the video. There's somebody else out there in your community, overseas, everywhere around the world, that has Liberian people that can see that video and say, you know what, I really like this, and I want to contribute, and apply whatever knowledge that I have to my country. And they can get in touch with him, whether through Facebook, Instagram, the phone number that he's provided. So again, y'all, this is Dr. Positive. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you're following Liberia Shall Rise Again. Make sure you're following the page, and make sure you're going on his Instagram and his Facebook, just to keep in touch and get updated on all the information, everything that he has planned for Liberia. Thank you so much. You have anything else to add, babe?
I would just say thank you to both of you, you and your husband,
Thank
your man.
you.
I don't know if I can say it better than you, but thank you. Thanks to you both. And folks, please follow Open Heart Podcast. We all
Thank
have to
you.
this is my little sister. She have a message.
Yes.
She have a message for the world. Please support her, and together we
Yes.
all make this world a better place. So
We will
thank you so
rise again.
much.
Together we
Thank you.
will rise again. For sure, for sure, for sure.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Yeah. So thank you, and brother, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate you. Salute for the work that you're doing here on the land and back home as well. And like my wife said, may your hands be blessed. May everything that you touch prosper. And if God is in it, there is no limit, right?
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
as long as
Thank
you
you.
do it at a good heart and in a good posture, God will definitely be the God of provision in this ministry, what I like to call it, right? Because
Yes.
I believe this is
It's
something
definitely.
bigger
Yes.
than what your mind can even comprehend right now. And just as long as you believe it, you will definitely be able to achieve it. And I know you already know some of the hard work that is going to be needed. And as long as you put foot to ground, you can definitely see this thing come through. So again, God bless you. Appreciate you for being here. And we will talk to you real soon. Okay.
Thank you
Definitely.
guys so
Definitely.
much.
Thank
Make
you.
sure while you're on
Take
oh,
care.
go,
Take care.
all right,
Bye.
guys. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. You are liking it. Please share this video everywhere on your platform. We thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is Open Hearts, and Liberia shall rise again, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Awesome.
Bye.
Awesome.